Ladies and gentlemen, there are seats right here all over the place. So instead of standing up there, please come on up, make yourself comfortable. Lots of seat up front, lots of seats. All the way through. Make yourself comfortable. I don't know why. I don't know why. There's a lot of seats up here. Come on, John. I know. No, they shouldn't have done that. Hey Robert, comment ça va? Ladies and gentlemen, we suggest strongly that you come towards the front because you will not hear in the back. The further back you go, the system won't project enough. Come forward. I suggest you gravitate to the front. There are seats all over the front. You won't hear in the back. Please gravitate to the front. We need to start the session. Toi, tu aurais dû être bon à l'école. Venez vous asseoir en avant, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, can I get everybody to find a seat? There are still seats in the front here. There's 6 or 7 here. There's individual ones up in the front. So come get a seat. We're going to start here in just 1 second. Okay, my name is Bonnie Hoyt-Hallett, and I'm the chair of the Pension Coalition. And I really thank all of you for coming this evening and for being here for our 3rd tour of the province. We have been around to most all the places we were before, 2 more left. So we are trying to bring everybody up to date as to what we're doing and to talk to you about where we are with our legal case. We're going to, Cliff is here, Cliff Kennedy, who you have seen as the spokesperson. Cyril Theriault is here. We've got a lot of our steering committee here as well. And we're going to go through a little bit about what our mandate was that we started out with, a little bit about our history, just so those of you that may not have followed us may know who we are and how we got involved in this. We're going to talk about what is the impact of the shared risk plan on you as retirees. We're going to talk about our legal strategy, sort of the options that were available to us, the ones chosen. We have a video with our legal counsel, and then following that, we'll talk about political strategy, finances, and then we'll have a Q&A. But I guess before I turn it over to Cliff, who's going to go through the presentation, I want to say to you all that this is really a turning point this third time. You gave us in all of our times around a mandate that you wanted us to go legal if we could not get the government to listen to the fact that retirees needed their benefits protected and that those benefits were vested and they were part of our salary. And they didn't. The bill was introduced. So the next step is a legal case. So we've retained a lawyer, Ari Kaplan, and Cliff will explain a little bit about him. And there's a video here, and I want you to understand that that video cost $800 for us to have produced, which we didn't think was a lot of money, to bring to you the visual and have him actually speak about the case, the legal case that we're going to launch. But I have to say to you, one of the things you'll hear about today, and one of the reasons we're here, and as I said, it's some of the things around, it's kind of the most difficult part for me to do, is to go and put my hand out for money. But legal doesn't come cheap. And it does require us to support it. And us, I mean each one of you. Because without the support, the legal case can't go. It's not going to go because the next guy's going to give and I'm not, and the next guy's going to give and I'm not. Everybody's going to have to contribute if we want to move forward on this challenge. And Cliff will go through what that amounts to. And as we start, obviously, it's the start. And he will also talk about our political strategy, because I've always said we have two activities. We have a legal activity, but we have a political activity. Because no matter what government is in come the 22nd of September, we don't want them to forget what the issue is, and we want it resolved. And so between now and then, we have to get commitment from the political parties that they will address this issue and address this issue protecting our contracts. So that is something that we need to work on to make sure it's in the platforms of the various political parties, and we'll speak to you about that. So I'll get Cliff to start now, and again, thank you very much, and I'll see you at the end of the presentation. I'll be back.
All right, good evening. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and listen to us this evening. I do have a cold. I've shaken a few hands, but my hands had been washed, so please don't feel like you're leaving away with me giving you something. It's not purposeful. Are there any retired teachers here this evening? Hands up. There we go. All right. One thing that we absolutely have to indicate is the solidarity that exists between the coalition and its members and the retired teachers who are members of the coalition. From the beginning, the retired teachers supported us from the get-go. They attended our meetings. They attended the legislative sittings. They were there with us throughout. And financially, they also participated and contributed. We will talk about all kinds of things this evening, and hopefully, if you have any questions, at the end of the presentation, you will come forward and use one of the microphones on the floor, and we recommend that you do so. One of our partners is PIPS, which is the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, and their vice president at our request is here this evening, Mr. Steve Hindle. Would you please stand up, sir? And Steve will have a message at a certain point during our presentation this evening.
One thing that I forgot, and I was supposed to, so I've been given back the mic, is how many people here are active, currently employed with the government under the PSSA?
Wow.
Super. Okay. I wanted to be very clear that I want to thank you very much for coming, and though you'll see a lot of what we present talks about pensioners and retirees, what you have to watch in what we say is we're asking that the bill be repealed. And if that bill is repealed, it will have a benefit to actives and to others that have been impacted by the shared risk plan. So when we go with our legal case, as you'll see when we talk to Ari, or when Ari speaks, we have to narrow our case in order to present it. And our case will be presented as pensioners, retirees. So a lot of what you'll hear will have that as the overriding message. But what we do will not only benefit those that are active now, but will benefit those of you who will become retirees like the rest who are here in the future. So we have not forgotten, and when Cliff does read the motion we've put to the political parties, you'll see that that's very much about what we're saying. We have not just focused in on retirees. We cannot forget those that are active in the system and that are still there. Thank you.
All right, just quickly, we'll go over the mandate and the brief history. Some of you most probably are fully aware of all of it. Many of you may not, because you may not have been at the first two sessions. So basically, the coalition is to gather information from multiple sources and communicate to former PSSA and coalition members, because the coalition members just does not include only the PSSA, Public Service Superannuation Act members. We are here to advocate on your behalf to government and the public. We're here to collaborate with other pension groups, PIPS being an example, QP being an example. And definitely we must follow the direction that you gave us last September. When we went around, we requested a mandate from you, added to our existing mandate, and that was to go legal. At 96% throughout the province of New Brunswick, it was clearly indicated by the participants at these meetings that we should go legal. Naturally, like Bonnie explained, we also have a political vein, and we're going to go down that road too, and we'll talk about that. And naturally, we have to account to our membership, because we've raised some funds, we've expended some funds, and we need to account to you in regards to where those dollars have gone, and we have done that by providing financial statements, but we'll provide more information this evening. Everything began with the May 29th, 2012 memo from the Department of Human Resources in regards to pension changes, and it went to the retirees. And it was clearly indicated, no, I think it went to all, I'm sorry, it went to everyone. And in that memo, it clearly indicated that the changes that were to be brought about were going to be on a go-forward basis. In our mind, and we figured out, hey, that doesn't apply to us because we're retired. We have vested rights. We've earned our pensions, and it's deferred earnings, so we're okay. However, the task force, when it was first created back in October of 2010, the purpose behind it was to also look, or primarily look, at the private sector and looking at other groups in the province of New Brunswick that don't have pensions, and how could pensions come about. But all of a sudden, the focus shifted completely towards the public service and, as we know, retired teachers. Throughout the fall of 2012, a bunch of us got together and started asking questions. What's going on? We're hearing some stuff that doesn't make too much sense to us because our rights are vested. So why should we be concerned about anything? And I think all of you throughout the province of New Brunswick were in the same boat. But the rumblings were serious rumblings. So we started meeting, and in February 2013, we formed the coalition. We then went on our first provincial tour, and we went to 11 different locations, which we have done now 3 times, as Bonnie indicated. While we were on that tour, government, recognizing that they had made a mess of their communications strategy around pension changes, did their own tour. And they went to 7 or 8 different locations in the province. And the retirees came out in droves. And we thank you very much for having done that, because it really raised an issue that government said was a Fredericton issue, but actually it is a province-wide issue. It impacts on all retirees. We are seniors and we are vulnerable. We did meet with Minister Higgs several times, as a matter of fact. But Minister Higgs indicated, and he had indicated that in his tour of the province, well, he did 3 sessions. And he indicated that the train had already left the station. So it was very difficult to have open, transparent, and consultative process. We met with the Premier and we met with MLAs. And basically the train had gone and we couldn't catch up. However, government did delay the implementation process of the shared risk pension plan. It was supposed to be implemented according to their documentation on the government website. It was supposed to be implemented in June of 2013. And that did not occur. Government withheld until the fall. And you heard throughout the fall the number of things that we have done, and we'll go through it right here. So that was a bit of a success. We were able to hold back the implementation. Then the coalition did its second tour around the province, and that's where you gave us that clear mandate. And then we held a demonstration in November. There was over 3,000 people from all over the province that attended that demonstration at the legislature. And we thank you very much for having taken the time to do that and show your support. There was also a joint press conference between the coalition, PIPS, and CUPE. And that was done in November at the Delta Hotel here in Fredericton. And then naturally, as you know, Bill 11 was enacted in December. Now, what's the impact of the Public Service Shared Risk Plan on retirees? You have in your packages, and I'm not asking you to read this now, but I'm just indicating, you, excuse me, you have some documentation. One is a one-pager that's titled The Guarantee of Base Benefits. Read that, and there are some specific sections from the Act that are highlighted in this one-pager that you should have a look at. It doesn't take long to go on the government website and have access to Bill 11, and we have it on our website also. There's another document that involves both retirees and actives. This is the one with the 3 columns, and it says Pensions, Public Service Superannuation Act, and Public Service Shared Risk Pension Plan. And the first 3 rows apply directly to the retirees, and the rest of the documentation applies to actives. So the actives that are here tonight, make sure that you pay attention to that information and read it carefully. Now, what has happened? PSSA has now been repealed. We know that. Bill 11 replaces and attempts to convert existing pensioners to the PSSRP, the Public Service Shared Risk Pension. Within Bill 11, our base benefits have been protected. And here's how I'm going to explain how our base benefits are protected. Before, they were guaranteed within the PSSA. What happened with the conversion to shared risk, as of January 1, 2014, your day of conversion, whatever you were making on that day. So let's take an example. I like my $100 example. So your check is $100 on January 1, 2014. January 1, 15 goes up by 2%. Example. Now you have $102. And in 16, happens to go up again by 2%. We're lucky. Okay? But it does, let's say. Now you're at $104, thereabouts. But in 17, there's no indexation. Markets are so-so. Fund performance is so-so. And in 18, no indexation, and they cut back. And they go into the base. And you now are going to receive $96 instead of $100. Government has guaranteed through the consolidated fund that whatever loss between the 96 and the 100, it will be made up by the province of New Brunswick, so that we will never make below $100. That's how government has guaranteed our base benefits. Is that clear? That's about as simple as we can make it. Now, that guarantee is for us, but that guarantee doesn't exist for the retired teachers. Retired teachers have something that's called a reserve fund. There's no money in it right now, but there should be some money potentially, possibly down the road. Hey, I'm a Frenchman. Give it a break. And before their base would be reduced, it would go into that fund. But their base is not guaranteed. And that is very, very serious. Bill 11 extends protection to the early retirement packages. I'm one that took an early retirement package. I'm on the WFA, Workforce Adjustment. And in Bill 11, it indicates that it can be increased, it can be reduced, or it can be revoked. But right now, within Bill 11, it is there. It can be increased. But it can also be reduced or revoked. But Bill 11 is protecting it somewhat. Now we have an immunity clause that's been incorporated within the PBA, the Pension Benefits Act. Please bear with me. Within the Pension Benefits Act, there is an immunity clause that protects all of those that are from government, MLAs, ministers, even civil servants, from those that made those decisions from being sued. And that clause was put in December 2012. I talked a bit about the base that is protected. So the future base, the base is protected, but the future base can be reduced, like I explained. The $100, the 2%, the 2 more percent, and then the reduction goes below consolidated fund, brings it back to $100. So in the future, the base can be reduced, but never below $100. The COLA, cost of living adjustment, is conditional on fund performance. That's as much for us as it is for the teachers. Teachers do not have a guaranteed 75% indexation. They're in the same boat as we're in, except they have a potential reserve fund that possibly could probably support their indexation. What government has indicated is that there is a target average of 75% chance that we will receive over a 20-year period 75% of CPI, Consumer Price Index. Not guaranteed. Similarly with the retired teachers. And there is absolutely no government guarantee. Je vais maintenant parler un peu de la gouvernance. Nous avons, and those that are Anglophones, you can follow as I'm speaking in French. The English version is right next to you. L'administration du fonds est via un conseil des fiduciaires. Un retraité est nommé par le gouvernement. Donc, il y a un total de possibilités de 10 membres sur ce conseil de fiduciaires. 5 par le gouvernement qui sont appointés et 5 par les unions. En ce moment, il y a 6 personnes sur le comité ou sur le conseil et une personne est un retraité nommé par le gouvernement. Le surintendant est maintenant l'autorité qui supervise le régime de pension dans sa totalité. Et nous anticipons que les coûts accrus vont être énormes en ce qui concerne les évaluations actuarielles, les coûts légaux et les coûts administratifs. Au lieu de faire une évaluation actuarielle à tous les 3 ans, maintenant, ils vont la faire à tous les années, donc à chaque année pour 20 ans. L'année prochaine, pour un autre 20 ans. L'année d'ensuite, pour un autre 20 années. Costs are going to be enormous in regards to the implementation of the shared risk pension plan. Actual valuations, instead of being done every 3 years, will now be done on an annual basis for 20 years forward, and every year for 20 years. I will do this one in both French and English. It's too important. Il y a trois façons d'argumenter légalement. Nous avons un comité technique. We have a technical committee. Ce comité est établi et composé d'anciens avocats qui travaillaient dans la fonction publique, ainsi que des anciens surintendants de pension, anciens directeurs exécutifs de pension. Et ce groupe travaille avec Harry Kaplan, qui est notre avocat. Ensemble, sur une période de plusieurs mois, ils ont déterminé différentes façons qu'on pourrait approcher le processus légal. So there are three ways that this technical committee, made up of the people I mentioned in regards to former lawyers in the province of New Brunswick, former executive directors, and former plan superintendent, together with our lawyer, have come up with three options. Premièrement, un avis de poursuite, où est-ce qu'il y a des audiences, il y a des requêtes juridiques. Le processus est très long et très dispendieux. The first one is notice of action, and there are discovery hearings, there are legal motions. It's lengthy and it's very expensive. There's administrative tribunals under the PBA, the Pension Benefit Act. It's faster, and we can potentially stop the proceedings of the implementation or the registration of the Shared Risk Pension Plan. Il y a aussi l'avis de demande. Et l'avis de demande est la même chose que l'avis d'action, l'avis de poursuite. Notice of application is the same thing as a notice of action. It's just a different process, and it's much, much cheaper. And what are we trying to do with the notice of application? We are trying to strike down Bill 11. Basically, that's where we're coming from with the legal case. We're wanting to go ahead and strike down Bill 11 and bring back the PSSA. The notice of application, there's no discovery. On prépare nos propres affidavits et on les dépose au tribunal, et c'est plus rapide et moins dispendieux. So what's the first option we chose? The administrative tribunal. So in December, when Bill 11 was enacted, immediately our technical committee put together a letter, a legal letter identifying all the key issues. It's about a 5-page letter. It's on our website. You can all have a read. And this legal letter was sent to the superintendent of pension, basically requesting that she not register the plan. The argument is a charter-based argument to delay registration based on discrimination. It's based on discrimination against us. We have our vested rights, our deferred earnings, and now they're being removed from us. And that is not correct according to the Charter. À ce jour, il n'y a eu aucune décision. Il devrait y avoir une décision dans un avenir rapproché. Et notre attente est que l'enregistrement du régime de pension va être complété. Our expectation is that the plan will be registered. But to this date, it has not been registered. Now think about this. January 1 conversion. We're now in May, and there's still no registered pension plan. However, last month, April 26th, contribution rates have gone up on your paychecks for pensions, but the plan is still not registered. The notice of application, l'avis de demande. C'est à être débuté d'ici juin 2014. Donc, d'ici le mois prochain, nous avons déjà débuté le processus de préparer la demande. We've already initiated the process to prepare the notice of application, and it should be submitted sometime near the end of June. It will take months for the courts, the judge to review the information, and we don't anticipate an answer before September 22nd. Nous devons agir rapidement, sinon on pourrait être questionné selon nos intentions. You know, it's nice to say we're going to go legal, and we talk about going legal, and then you people are sitting there and wondering, when are they going to go to court? When are they going to go legal? Well, we've begun the process. That all started last August, and we received legal advice from our counsel indicating that there is a case for us to proceed to court. And then we did the administrative tribunal in December. And now we're doing the notice of application to strike down Bill 11. And the election campaign gives us added impetus. The realistic cost, according to our legal counsel, to bring this before a judge and to get a ruling is in the vicinity of $200,000. And to date, we've raised 60. So that we're still short 140 grand. And the next government cannot drop the issue. So we know that the Allward government won't be there next time. So that's what I got. That's a response I anticipated. You don't know. I took a gamble there. I think I'm going to take a little bit of water. Talking political, I have dry mouth syndrome. Anyways, the next government cannot drop this issue. It's before the courts. It will be before the courts. They will have to address it.